How the fuck's it going, everyone? I told you I wouldn't be gone long. I thought I would come back today with a bit of a themed vid. I know I've done a couple of reviews like of individual albums over the past couple of videos probably, and I don't want to kind of burn myself out on those because I do a lot of writing as well. But I also don't want to burn you guys out because I know like the in-depth stuff when I'm talking about kind of specifics of each album with lots of different components, it can get quite kind of heavy. I will not be stopping doing those by any means, but I guess I'll just not kind of pepper you with them. Yeah, so I'm going to be focusing on one band here basically. I'm going to be going through my collection of their albums on vinyl, and basically just saying a little bit about them, showing the discs and stuff as I normally do. This is a band that I absolutely love. They have become one of my favourite bands over the last few years, comfortably. And yeah, I've made that absolutely no secret, but I don't think I've shown many of their records in any of these videos, so I thought I would just give them their own video. Make sure you guys go and check them out. First of all, what we've got going on in the background though, I'm sure you guys can hear it. I had this one on in the background of my like album review of this one. This is Australia's Black Magic SS with their brand new full-length album Burning Bridges. A cult psychedelic rock with black metal vocals basically, very synthy, very catchy. I've been in depth about this one already. I don't have many CDs with me, so I am just throwing on what I fancied listening to be fair. So yeah, just go and check that out if you haven't already. Super zany, super goofy, so much fun. Go and check it out. Black Magic SS, Burning Bridges. Let's get that straight out the way. I've got a monstrous bowl of M&Ms here to kind of get me through this vid. Cup of tea, of course, I'm British, why the fuck wouldn't I be drinking tea? But yeah, so what I'm going to be going through here is the discography, or at least the discography that has been available to me by the band Rope Sect out of Germany. So yeah, a little bit about Rope Sect first of all before I get into each of these albums. I haven't actually, I'll try and put these in chronological order so that they, that one, awesome. Probably should have done that before I started, so enjoy that. I'll stop faffing. They're basically a death rock outfit, Rope Sect. I'm not sure how many guys are in the band. It might be 3 or 4. But basically, yeah, they play a really kind of moody, really miserable and brooding style of death rock. And if you're not familiar with the death rock subgenre, which I wasn't before I came across Rope Sect, it's kind of like post-punk, but with a bit of a darker edge. Everything's very low and moody, kind of a doom metal sort of tone and atmosphere, if you ask me. But yeah, you'll kind of hear it when you go and check it out. It's quite hard to explain, but it's very kind of, it's very, very much related to post-punk. So if you like kind of Joy Division and that kind of thing, it's very much in a similar vein, but with a bit of a darker overtone. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into these. I still put them in the wrong order. So yeah, I hadn't quite quit my faffing. So first of all, we've got their compilation album Personae Ingrati. So this one is a compilation of a few of their earlier EPs, which I believe were just kind of comprised of like a couple of tracks each. This is their typical style, so it is the kind of the punkier side of their sound, their death rock sound. There are some really, really cool solo moments on this thing, namely on the track King of the Night, the 4th track, which is unquestionably my favourite track on here. What's it got? In Measure, the vocalist has such a kind of low, monotonous vocal tone, which just kind of, it just absorbs all of your happiness. It absorbs, it just ensures that the album sucks you in. It just takes away any sort of distractions and you just get lost in the music as a result. I love that guy's voice. He's such a good vocalist. One of my favourites going, period, at the minute in any genre. Yeah, he just brings a kind of really dark tone to anything he kind of performs on, basically. As for the riffs, very, very kind of... they're almost catchy despite being very, very atmospheric. The guitar tone's kind of... it's kind of rooted in post-punk, I would argue. It's sort of almost got a... like a thick groove to it. It, again, just keeps you absorbed, keeps you interested. Like with doom metal, the guitar tone kind of limits Rope Sect to like a few riffs. Just because like there's only so much you can do with like 4 different sounds and 4 different notes. But they do it splendidly. There isn't a track on here that sounds like exactly the same as another one. Inmesh's kind of vocal hooks are absolutely great. If any of the music does kind of blend in to the kind of track prior, Inmesh's kind of hooks and choruses just completely quash that and ensure that you do not get bored, nothing gets tedious. It's just a fucking great time all around. As with all of Rope Sect's records, or jackets at least, it's very minimalist. So you've got their logo there at the top, very straightforward, just the lettering. You've got our guy here wrapped around in ropes. He's clearly failed to hang himself or whatever. And yeah, the font's very simple. I like the bordering around the photo there. Back cover is just the track listing and the album title. This was put out through Iron Bonehead Productions, as all of their music has been so far. And this one was put on a very nice gold vinyl, which obviously goes absolutely perfectly with the artwork. So yeah, absolutely great stuff. There are a few tracks that kind of don't sound like a part of this entire kind of collective, just because they're a bit more minimalist and they use kind of drum programming instead of like a real drummer, which I believe they do use at times. I'm not entirely sure, I might have completely knobbed that up, but anyway, just don't listen to me. Yeah, so tracks like Ochlysis, probably butchered that. It's more of a moody track. It's less kind of upbeat, if you could call any of this upbeat. Yeah, it's just more of a kind of slow brooding track. But yeah, it's got a bit of a different tone to it. It sounds like it's on a different release to the other tracks. But yeah, there's a nice kind of mishmash of different styles on here, which I think you should go and fucking check out. I really enjoy that thing. That's Persone in Grati by Rope Sect. I'm gonna stop saying by Rope Sect if I can throughout this. I'll probably call myself out when I do it. Next up, we've got Rope Sect's debut full-length album and only full-length album up to this point. This one is The Great Flood. So this one follows kind of a similar formula to Persone in Grati, or at least the first few tracks of that. So it's kind of, this one's quite upbeat, it's quite well produced in comparison. It feels more like a post-punk record. I nearly said pop-punk there. It feels like the opposite to a pop-punk album. Really, really catchy at times. Tracks like Prison of You, The Underground Paradise, Flood Flower. So many kind of catchy moments. We've got a few features by the same guy. I don't remember his name, which is frustrating, but it is the vocalist out of Grave Pleasures. He does a couple of these tracks. He does Prison of You and Flood Flower. And unfortunately, as much as I quite like his vocal style, I just love Inmesh's vocals, our guy out Rope Sect here. So it's almost disappointing to sort of hear a different guy's voice. That's just testament to how good Inmesher is normally. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't go amiss, but it definitely, I would prefer those tracks if Inmesher did the vocals. especially Flood Flower, because the riff on that thing is absolutely killer. It's so groovy and really quite technical and complex, despite like Rope Sect's simplistic kind of general style. Yeah, this was a fucking strong first attempt, or first effort I should say, not even attempt. They fucking knocked it out of the park. I love this thing. I always go back to this thing when I want a bit of a, when I want Rope Sect style, but I want something a bit more kind of singable, if you will. It's just a bit catchier, a bit more kind of invigorating. Yeah, and again, a nice kind of contrast between slow and kind of the more kind of mid-pace stuff, which is really nice. So yeah, front cover, that's another person wrapped in rope, which is very cool. Really like their artwork style in general. Very simple kind of album title and logo at the top there, and then there's like a reflection with some trees in some water there. Very cool. Back cover there, we've got like what looks like a noose or something there, or a sickle. I can't really tell. It's in the shape of a sickle. I think it might be a noose, with your track listing there. Iron Bonehead Productions yet again. This was actually my introduction to Rope Sect. So yeah, I've got a lot to thank this one for. Black vinyl, nothing too much to look at. It was actually Canyon Bickle that put me onto this band and this album. I believe he put this in his year-end list. But yeah, got a lot to thank Canyon for as well. So yeah, that's Rope Sect, The Great Flood. Go and check that shit out, it's fucking great. Next up, we've got a 10-inch record, which I do not get into my collection very often, for no particular reason. They're just not pressed that often, or at least bands don't usually kind of go for that format. But yeah, this is their EP, which came a year or two after The Great Flood, entitled Proskinesis. Proskinesis, yeah, we'll go with that. Another one that was put out through Iron Bonehead Productions. This is a kind of 3-track EP. Each of them are called Proskinesis, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. And then Side B is like a, I believe it's 1 EP, the Handsome Youth EP, which is just kind of a repress, but it means I can have those tracks on vinyl on the physical format, which is very, very nice. I cannot complain. This is some of the best written work from Rope Sect, period. Particularly Proskinesis 3. The riffing on that is splendid. There's a really, really cool kind of lead riff which comes in, which just comes out of nowhere, to be honest. It's not typical for Rope Sect's style, and it's not typical for this this EP either. This is quite kind of, this is a really Stygian, like depressive thing, but it's still in the kind of groove-laden style of the previous two that I showed. Definitely lots of kind of cool drum moments on this. This one makes me want to pick up the drumsticks. Quite simplistic drumming, but there are lots of kind of really cool 16th note bass kicks which creep in, which just kind of adds a bit of spice to it. But the drumming's kind of never a focal point for this band. It's all about the riffs, all about Enmesh's vocals. Yeah, this one's absolutely fucking great. Really moody, really, really cool. Front cover there shows lots of people carrying a rope or a noose. Very nice. I love, as I say, I love their style. Again, simplistic layout. Back cover there, we've got someone praying, maybe. I'm not really sure. It looks like he's got ropes wrapped around his head again. And you've got your track listing there, and yet again, Iron Bonehead Productions. And this one was put on a very nice, clear 10-inch vinyl, which is very cool, very cute. I like it. My throat is starting to feel like it's coming out. It's absolutely diabolical. It's a wonder I haven't coughed yet, to be honest. Nothing an Eminem won't fix though, right? So next up, I'll try not to spit Eminem all over the camera as well, because that'll be fucking lovely. Next up, we've got Rope Sect, that was a mistake. I'm going to start choking on that now. This is Rope Sect's latest kind of compilation album, I believe. Compilation EP, we'll call it, entitled Metanoia Sessions. This was brought out in 2022, again through Iron Bonehead Productions. And this is an album which Rope Sect kind of recorded as a sort of stripped back version of their usual sound. So this very much sounds like Rope Sect, but this is really, really kind of rooted in atmosphere. It's dripping with atmosphere. The groove and the up-tempo stuff is gone entirely, and in its place is just kind of crawling dirges. Really somber, really sorrowful. There's a real feeling of hopelessness on this. It just sounds like Inmesh is completely dejected, and there's kind of really, really sort of sad and mournful guitar riffs on this thing. The bass guitar runs the show. The drumming, it's definitely drum programming on this one. It really sounds like it as well, but the drumming is just there to kind of serve its purpose. It's not there to kind of blow your tits off or anything. It's all about the atmosphere here. If you like the sound of that, if you like the sound of something just that makes you think, it really kind of takes all of your brain power, even though the music's kind of simplistic, please go and check this one out. This is some of my favourite Rope Sect work, so I would love to see them record something else along these lines. The first track, Filth in Every Smile, and the second track, Thrones, are just to die for. Absolutely great. The vocal hooks are splendid, and when I say hooks, I don't mean they're going to make you like jump out your chair and sing. They're definitely not kind of like arena rock sing-along ballads or anything like that. They are miserable as fuck, but really kind of catchy, stick in your head. But yeah, it's hard to explain without you going to listen to it. But I can't get enough of this band. I can't get enough of this album. I can't get enough of any of their music, to be honest. Yeah, there are a few bands I listen to quite as much as Rope Sect, and this is absolutely one of my favourite bands in the entire fucking world at the minute. Not to mention these guys as well. Yeah, double whammy of some of my favourite music in the absolute world. So yeah, that's Rope Sect, Metanoia Sessions. We've got a guy wrapped in string this time. They thought they'd change it up a bit and wrap him in something different, with very simplistic layout again. Sorry about the gloss, by the way, it's the window there. Back cover there, you got some rope kind of over somebody's body, maybe? I can't really tell what the fuck that is, and I don't suppose you can see it with the gloss on there, so just take my word for it. You've got the track listing up top there, Iron Bonehead yet again, and this one was put on this very nice kind of olive green with black, kind of half and half. Absolutely love that shit, very cool, goes perfectly with the artwork yet again. And yeah, that concludes yet another video. So, it was really cool to come back yet again. I will attempt to kind of keep this up as long as I have kind of content in mind. Somebody asked me a while ago if I'd do a t-shirt video, like a t-shirt collection video, and I've got a fuck ton of t-shirts upstairs which I wouldn't mind showing off. So if you guys fancy that, please do let me know, because I think I could have quite a lot of fun with that idea. Apologies to whoever actually suggested that, by the way. I cannot remember, it was a while ago. Do shout out in the comments if you have any idea who it was, or if you are indeed said person. But yeah, I've probably got a few records coming in at some point. I do not know when. We'll just have to wait and see. For now, I'll love yous and leave yous. Hope your work week's going well. Mine certainly is so far, minus this blasted cough. I just feel like I want to rip my fucking trachea out. It's fucking horrible. But yeah, hopefully I can't infect you through this fucking camera. But if I would, I could. If I could, I would. Fuck me. I'm gonna go. Hope you have a great week. It's good to be back. Thank you as always for the support. Take care. And I'll catch yous.